Ohayo gozaimasu. Boom. Kampai. Oh man, I probably don't need this because it tastes too good. It just tastes too good. It's It reminds me of a chai, but it's not. It's just some hot chocolate because it's kind of cold. But hope you're doing good this morning. Today, the prompt for today was this, and it's strange. Okay, it doesn't really have to do with anything with challenging fear or anything like that, but it's, it was strange, and it used the Bible for, and that was strange, interesting. But let's get into this. It said this: whoever watches the wind will not plant, and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. And to tell you the truth, I was perplexed. I'm sitting there like, how does this work? And so I asked God for wisdom. Okay, God, show me what this is, because I know for a fact that you put this book in front of me for me to read. And not read, but to actual journal and to be moved to action. So what does this have to do with anything like conquering fear and things like that, being moved to action? Because I was like, how do I even put this into context of what I'm actually talking about, which is, challenging your fears and doing things, or Kaizen, or, making a better life for yourself. And it wasn't long, a few minutes, because I'm really seeking him. He says, seeking you shall find. So I'm seeking. And I imagine myself going down into the mind garden. My garden where you cross the bridge, kind of like I have it here, but this was my little set at home. Cross the bridge, and you're in my Ichigo place. My time alone with God, right? And as I was imagining myself down there, I was kind of like sitting in my thinking chair, thinking about the things I think about. And in my mind, God had me sit down in the garden. Okay. And like I said, I'm feeling this. I'm looking at this. I can see this vividly. I'm sitting there and I'm looking up, and a strong breeze blows by. And I know you say, well, how can you feel this strong breeze? I'm looking up and I'm imagining all the trees around. This, your garden usually is surrounded by greenery as part of the landscape, as we talked about back in January. But all the trees were blowing real hard. And I was like, okay, now this is nice. I don't know if you had ever, I'm in Georgia, and the summers are kind of hot. And so when a strong breeze blew, I'm not saying wind, I'm saying a breeze, a strong breeze comes through, it feels great. And I'm just in amazement of how good this feels in my mind. So I was feeling great, and the sight of the trees moving as they were just kind of like, it reminded me of kind of like they were praising. They had their arms up and they were praising. And it was beautiful. And I looked up at the clouds, and the clouds, when the strong wind is coming through, and you look up and you can see the clouds moving fast. And they were quickly rolling along. And it reminded me of back in the day when I was a little kid. My old neighborhood had big hills. And right outside my neighbor's yard, my yard too, but my neighbor's yard had a steep hill. And he didn't mind us, like, as long as you didn't ride your bike through there, jumping the hills, you could walk it through there, or you could just sit down because it was hilly. And I would look up every now and then, and the clouds would go by. You just lay there on the grass, just lay there and look up at the clouds. And you pick out, man, that cloud looks like a duck, or that cloud looks like uh, Jesus on a horse, or something like that. Just all the clouds going by. And as I was laying there, I was like, man, this feels so good. This is so relaxing. Then I understood. How is this a challenge to fear? How do you call yourself to move to action when the scripture says whoever watches the wind will not plant and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap? I felt like doing nothing but being in that presence, which is a really good thing. And it's good to be refreshed and everything. But I also really had I wanted to stay here and not really being about anything or doing anything, or just living life right here, doing nothing, not accomplishing anything, which was a good feeling. But I understood because I was in the very exact middle of a comfort zone. And when we get into this place where it feels so good that we want to stay there. But do you know God is constantly moving? He's constantly doing things that takes you from place to place. Now, it's good to find rest and it's good to be refreshed, but it's not good to stay where you are. And that starts to become complacency. So he's moving from place to place. You know what happens when the shepherd does not move the sheep? Or the herd just sits in the pasture in the same place? After a while, not immediately now, but after a while, all the grass is gone. So the food supply is gone. There's no exercise. So you probably get sick. And, these things physically not moving is bad for you and it's bad for the land because the land can't heal itself. So moving from place to place gives you not only exercise and not only, if I can expect you to be here at all time, I can attack you at this place at this point in time. But if you're constantly moving, I have to adjust. So God moves us from place to place, place to place to accomplish different things here, there, there. And we're learning, we're gaining experiences, and we're gaining trust in him, knowing that he's not going to take us to somewhere and leave us in a place that is no good for us. Okay? He's moving, and we have to move, we have to do, we have to really seek, and we have these things that we are called to action. Once we get done with this task, we can move on to the next thing. Now, like I said, I felt good during the rest, but him showing me that, I also felt bad because I wanted to stay there. If he said, okay, pack up, it's time to go, we got to get moving, we got to start doing this, we got to get this accomplished, we got to get this accomplished. But I would just want to sit here and look at the clouds and lay back in my garden and just enjoy the time. And he had those conflicting emotions going on inside of me so I could understand. because I asked for understanding. I wanted understanding. And whoever watches the wind will not plant, okay? Because they're distracted. And whoever looks at the clouds will not reap the awe and the beauty, where there's work to be done, but the awe and the beauty. I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do. So, what's your action item today? What's on your list? You know, what's that one thing God's asking you to do, but you just really hadn't been motivated to do it? I want to say, just do it. All right? And here's to you. Gambate and kampai.